did season 1 and we gave you the shout out.
Yeah.
And we called you not your name.
I called you Claudia.
Which, just
Who's
FYI.
Claudia?
Please enjoy this quick tip video brought to you by Tuftex Balloons.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm the owner of Darling Design Balloons, and I'm here today with Tuftex to give you Tuftex tips. Come on. Okay, let's start with tip number 1. We are going to take a 260 and wrap it in the tongue of the balloon, and then we are going to tie that off into a circle at the end, just like that. So you are able to stretch it over the balloon and place that foil balloon on the outside where you're wanting it. Next, for the front of the garland, we like to use a utility hook. They stick to just about anything. Tie your 260, tie it off into a circle just like last time, and you are able to slide it over the balloon and place it on the front of the garland. Last, for all of our baby balloons, we like to use either glue dots or U-glue. You're just gonna stick that baby on and place it where you're wanting it. Here is the final outcome. We are literally obsessed. We love when we get to work with Tuftex. Thanks for watching.
Great. Welcome back, everybody, to season 2 of On Air with LA Balloons. I'm Karen. And
I'm Andrew.
And today's guest is baby of the party with over 5,000 followers. Everybody please welcome Carina.
Yay.
Hi, guys.
Before we get into asking Carina a bunch of questions and the icebreaker that we have, we want to shout out Tuftex, which is the sponsor of season 2. So shout out Tuftex. Thank you for supporting us and for coming along in this journey with us.
And if you're not familiar and first time listening to the episode with LA Balloons, we are an online wholesale distributor, balloons, silk flowers, event supplies, equipment, and more. If you want professional service, better products, faster shipping, LA Balloons.
Oh. So before we start, we're going to just kind of break the ice, and we have a little game that we like to do.
Okay.
I'm going to show you 2 color bags of Tuftex colors.
Okay.
And you're going to do your best to tell me which color it is.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to start with the first one, and I'll show you the back of it. So these are the first 2 colors.
Okay.
And hopefully you can see them from here.
Okay. So we have the cocoa.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then is that the fairly new one?
You are correct.
Yeah,
It's newer than the other one.
Yes.
Cocoa and then malted. So
Wait, was malted?
malted.
Oh,
Yes.
it was almost looking like cameo, but I'm like, no, maybe the line
Too far away.
Then the next one is these 2 shades. They're
Okay.
like pink colors.
So we have that one's also kind of fairly new. It's the give me a second. This one's just no, it's not the standard pink. Is it the standard pink? Oh, okay. This one's
These are harder. These are not like their standard colors. They have like different names.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this one's like the lighter one, and then this one would be a darker one. This one almost kind of looks like hot pink.
It does, but it's not.
not.
But then it's like a mixture of the regular pink that they have. Oh, is that one the peach? No, is it Malibu peach?
No.
This one's coral.
Coral.
Yeah. And then this one's taffy.
Oh,
This one's-
Taffy.
yeah.
Ugh.
I knew taffy, but I thought taffy was the other one. I would have gotten that one wrong too. Man.
Yeah, these are a little bit.
You know which one
harder.
I was confusing it with? Their new Hawaiian orange one that they just have. It's not coral. It's
That might be from another one.
no, it's I just
Aloha.
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 Yeah.
That's what it was.
I was so close to saying that one.
That was a good
Oh,
one.
actually, yeah. I can see
think-
that one.
I was like, I think we didn't have the 5-inch one.
That's why you picked that one. That's why you made it extra hard. Okay,
yeah.
that's smoke gray and fog.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
she went right in. So yeah, those are both shades correct. And then we'll do this one. These are 2 shades of green.
Okay, so we have willow and evergreen,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. And then the last one is another shade of pink.
So
And these
we
are pretty
similar, yeah. That one's a newer pink that I just saw it too because I was trying to buy shades. Baby pink we have, and then we have
You got it right though.
Yeah,
The
you
new-
did.
the new-
Romy.
it's the new pink.
Yeah,
From
Romy.
Romy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Romy.
yeah. So that was
Oh,
good.
interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's
Oh,
good
okay.
to see it in person because I haven't seen it in person. So I know it's a good substitute for the baby pink one.
Yeah, this
You
one
know.
is one of their newer ones.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people have been using this one because it is pretty similar to the
Similar,
baby
yeah.
pink.
It is my new favorite pink.
Yeah.
Like in actuality, the 3 new colors are my favorite of
Yeah.
the Tough X colors. They have Overthrown, Cameo, and Blue Slate.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's
I
right.
love blue slate. That's like my
That's-
favorite blue to use.
That's
that-
been my go-to favorite color for like years now.
Yeah. What were your top? Blue, slate,
And
fog?
cameo.
Oh, that's right.
Blue Slate, Cameo, and Fog were always like my top 3.
Mhm.
Those are my favorite colors. But since they came out with this, Romy, Meadow, and Georgia
Yeah.
are now my favorite
Top.
colors.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they're like just popping out with new stuff all the
colors.
time for us. It's-
It's different. It has like it's like still matte, but it has like a pearl like sheen to it.
Yeah.
And it's like super opaque, but
yeah.
it's really cool. I don't know.
Yeah, like their sugar. Is it
Sugar.
sugar?
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite pearl white that I have. Like that I use. Like that's my go-to.
Mm.
I it's my only one. I would be like, this is the only one I use.
I
yeah.
think that's like what all of them are made of. So like they started with sugar and they came up with that formula, and then they
Added
came
the
up with
color.
lace, and then the pink, and then the blue, and then everything else. Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite like top text color?
Oh, Willow. Willow's my
Willow?
favorite.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
You know, it's funny. I was my daughter, my second daughter. Her name's Olive, but I wanted to name her Willow so bad.
Oh!
yeah, and we didn't. We couldn't agree to it, and I was like, "Why?" He wanted Olivia, and I wanted Willow, and we ended up with Olive.
That's a good compromise, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we met in the middle.
So now Olive, nothing to do with Popeyes and Olive. Popeye? No.
No, it's just Olivia's beautiful. We love the name Olivia, but it's so popular, so it's
Yeah.
really overly used in our opinion.
Ah,
So he's like, Olive. And I was like, Olive, I love Olive, you know. And then and my first daughter, her name's Charlie Jade. So it's like, there's greens on both of them, you know? So we're like, oh, that's
Wow.
perfect.
so how many? So you have two kids.
Two kids, yes.
Oh man, that's wild.
I think when we first came across your page, it was when you were doing the installs and you were still pregnant,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we had mentioned when we did season 1 and we gave you the shout out.
Yeah, yeah.
and
but
we
yeah,
called you
and we-
not your name.
I called you Claudia.
Which,
Claudia.
just
Who's
FYI,
Claudia?
10 minutes before we shot that episode, we said we were going to do the shout outs. And I was like, okay, what's her name? And she said what your name was.
Karina.
And it was Karina. And during the episode, it happened. And I was like, I thought about it for a second,
Yeah.
but I was like, no, she's the one who did the research. She's the one who did the thing. It's like, she knows better than I do.
I trusted her.
It wasn't until later where I was like, oh my gosh. Like we had, like our editor had done the video, was doing the thing. And then I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I said Claudia. And you actually have a lot of, I don't know if they're your friends or family, but they were like, her name's Karina. Her name's Karina. I was like, I'm sorry.
They're like defending it.
But you had
My
a lot
army
of-
came out.
Yeah.
They really did, which is
Yeah.
great because it shows really
Yeah.
how good of a person you are, because you had a lot of people say a lot of very, very nice
Yeah,
things
I
about
did see
you.
that. That was so nice of them. And then my sister too. She's all like, "Hey, they reached out to me, but I just want to apologize because I'd never responded." I'm like,
Aw.
"Oh my god."
You
I
had
reached out
more than
to
enough.
to a few people that I was like, okay, I don't even remember how I like came across all of them,
Mhm.
but I was like, I probably look like a stalker here, just like
And
DMing all
going
these
through
people.
them.
But I reached out to them and I was like, if they have time, then cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of them did have a lot of nice things to say about you. And again, they came like after for your name and everything, but
And they're funny.
I guess-
That's the IE in them.
They were all AI responses. No, just kidding.
I guess, well, I have a question. If
Yeah.
you want to start with that. Speaking of like your family and friends, how has that been for you from like when you first started? You can talk a little bit about like how you first started, what kind of got you into balloons,
Okay.
and I guess who has been like your biggest supporters since you have started your business?
Yeah. So I started balloons slowly because before I had my daughter, my first daughter, she's 5 now, I used to bartend. So I used to
Oh.
bartend nights. So my schedule was probably like clocking in at 8
Mhm.
and then coming out maybe 2, 3 in the morning. And I was used to that,
Yeah.
So I was always somewhat in like event industries kind of a thing. So once I had my first daughter, I was a breastfeeding mom. So it was challenging for me to go back to work while being a breastfeeding mom at those hours, because my schedule wasn't her schedule that I wanted her to be used to, which is I was up late nights, but hers is like, you're a baby, you're a newborn, you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
So when it was time for me to go back to work after having her, it was so hard for me. It was like anxiety. It was like separation anxiety. The thought of losing my milk supply. And I slowly wondered, like, I'm doing so good at breastfeeding. I don't want to like drop that journey and be selfish to her because work, when there's thousands of other jobs, there's other things I can do. And this is when my boyfriend, he's like, hey, like, you don't have to work doing that. Like, especially her being so little, like just hang tight, like go without work. Like I got us, like blah, blah, blah. Which I was like, oh, cool, stay at home mom. Like, this is everybody's dream. Like, say less. But then to me, it's like I come from a family that we've always worked. It's like, it's in our roots to work. So it was like more mentally challenging, especially like being like in your postpartum era and stuff like that, not working. So I know a lot of people love that. Oh, I get to stay home. And like, I love it too. I still get the luxury of doing it. But it was just kind of challenging that I wasn't working. I felt like I wasn't doing enough for myself and for my kids at that time. So like my sister she has 2 kids already. So she would always be like, hey, come help me for their birthday parties. Come help me and I would always do everything. I would set up desserts and stuff like that. And her friend one time, she's like, hey, why don't you do this? Like, like, why don't you offer this service? Like, you're so good at it. And back then I was not good at it, but to everybody seeing it, they're like, oh, that's good. Because starting, what was that? Like I started in 2019, but like before then I was using Party City, Dollar Tree balloons. So, it's like, you know the difference. I wasn't confident in my work, but then she's like, here, come do my kid's party. And then she like, I did her son's birthday and then she like shot me like $50 for like a small garland. I'm like, girl, what? $50 and what? And before inflation, that was a good amount, So it's like, okay. And then like it just started going like that, like a small family say, hey, come do this. And then my mom's like, why don't you just offer it? Like go to like Facebook Marketplace and offer it. Like, because look, you're only working weekends. You're here with your kids all day. It works with you. It works with you. It works with your schedule. So I was like, okay, so then I did. I started trying it. I was taking pictures and I would just do like mock-ups for the house or stuff like that. And I was actually getting clientele.
Them, or were you doing like a Canva?
Like I would actually just go buy supplies to practice. And then, like if it was a holiday, I would have like a Halloween garland in my living room. Or if it was Valentine's Day for my kid, it's like I wanted her to grow up with that, like celebrating stuff like that. And and people were actually hiring me.
So Facebook Marketplace was the first place that you really promoted.
Yeah. Publicly, because aside from that, I was like my family would be like, hey, Carina, baby shower. Or, hey, Carina. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But publicly where I was like, all right, let me throw myself out there, and swim with the sharks.
Not and Instagram. Facebook.
No, it was just
I think
crazy.
That's the first time. Yeah.
Because I didn't make my Instagram till I actually started getting paid clients where I was able to start posting what I was making and little by little start growing in that aspect, which I slowly stuck to balloons and no backdrops because I didn't have a large transportation either. So a lot of people were like buying their like banners from from Amazon. And then I was working with that. And then little by little, I was like, I should just, elevate more. But it wasn't until COVID hit, because I started like fully taking clients 2019 and then 2020 COVID hit. And to me, that was like my spark in my career because I know a lot of people like they had a downfall with their work. But for me, it was like the drive-by parties were going on and hey, my friend's not feeling good. Can you go leave a bouquet at the doorstep? And so like I was getting business back to back. So I was like, oh my God, it's working out for me. I'm like, I'm still able to provide. I'm still able to like work and I'm still able to be a mom, which was like my top priority. So to me, it's like, it all like happened at the right place. It's like, okay, kid, a pandemic, like it's all, and it was just perfect.
It worked out. It seems like your family was kind of what started, like was really, really supportive in the beginning.
Yeah. So they definitely were my supporters. They were, like I said, my boyfriend was there helping me, especially with not me working. And then, but overall, like my biggest motivation was my kid. It's like, I'm doing this for her. And it was like me pushing it because I'm like, I got to do something for you. I got to represent you, you know, It's like, I'm your mom. So, but yeah, my family's always been supportive about it. Like, when I started, my dad had a bigger car and he'll be like, hey, let's switch cars. Like, you have a smaller car. I can take that to work and you can use my big car. And then you can do like, you know, it works out because I don't like wasting gas and you have to waste the gas because you need to transport your balloons. You need to transport this. And I was like, are you sure? Like, I'm going to your car up. You know, like, the backdrop's in it now. He's like, do it. Like, that's fine. And yeah, so that's been really helpful because, you know, especially like, even right now, I am trying to like invest in a bigger vehicle, and I'm like, dude, these interest rates are like so high, you know. So I was like, so he hasn't asked for the car back, or he never tells me no when I need it. So I was like, okay, you guys we're a village here. Like,
that's it's actually one of the more different startups to a balloon business that I've heard in a number of years, just because I feel like, I don't know, it's actually very, very similar for most people. And this one is a little bit different.
So that's where baby of the party came, because my baby's the one that really pushed me to have to start balloons, you know? So it's like, that's
always
like the life of the party. And stuff like that. I was like, oh, the baby of the party. So
that's creative. So I know a lot of people tried to do their name with either their business or something that's
their own
just
name,
like, something like that. But that's cute that you like, she's your motivation and she's the one that has kind of driven you to like keep pushing. And keep doing it. It is interesting also that you say, like, I feel like a lot of people's stories are like, they don't start because they don't have that support, or they feel like, what is so-and-so going to say? Or like, where am I going with this? You know?
Yeah.
So I think your story is really different from most people because you did have, like you said, like you have a village behind you.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah. And then, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where like, I get myself in places where I'm like, oh my God, I don't have the help. Whether it's like, I want to take like last minute event and I don't have the daycare because my mom also works or stuff like that. It can get lonely at some aspects, but at the end of the day, it's like, you got to reflect back. You're like, I've come so far because I do have that support.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, sometimes there can be some challenges, there can be some obstacles, but I feel like so long down this road, I've been able to like learn to overcome them, or, you know, find my ways to make things happen regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got started on the Facebook marketplace and then you eventually opened up the Instagram.
Yeah.
How do you get most of your clients now? So like,
now it is through Instagram mainly, but it is word of mouth. Like, to me, word of mouth is so powerful. It's, you know, it's like just right now, my friend who carpooled with me, she's actually meeting a lender because she's buying, or she's something with her home, right? And so then he's like, oh, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. So I explained to him and he gave me his business card. He's like, oh, that's awesome. We can use you for our holiday party, blah, blah, blah. You know, and he's a vice president for a lending company. So I'm like,
wow.
You know, like,
so just like that. Okay, so you heard it here. If you come to the podcast, you might get a client.
Your clients are outside. So it's like, you know, it's like, it's always word of mouth, which has been very helpful. And again, back to like saying my village, they're always like, oh, you need balloons, my daughter, or you need this, my, you know, so that's where most of my clients come from.
That's really interesting. And I think even earlier you brought up a really good point because, you know, your boyfriend having given you the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom, like that's great. But when you do work all the time, no matter what your job is, you're still spending 35, 40, 50, 60 hours a week doing something. And then you go to not doing anything. I have been there. And I thought that was actually very, very difficult. So for 6 months, I wasn't working. I didn't need to work. It was perfectly fine. You know, you went to the beach, you went to the gym, you take care of the things around the house, whatever the case might be. But not having something that you're working towards that's bigger than you, I think is actually very, very hard. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's almost depressing.
Yeah, right. So like, you know, when LA Balloons kind of came around for me in 2017, and we had sat down and we talked about what the goals for the company were, and I'd met Steven and owner, and eventually Karen. Being part of something, collaborating, working as a team, or working towards like a bigger goal, and then meeting all these entrepreneurs like yourself and seeing what they're doing with the business was actually really, really exciting.
Right. Yeah.
And I just think that's important because like I think a lot of people strive towards like, oh, I want to make so much money that I don't have to work. And it's like, that's not really the goal. Like the goal should be to find work that you enjoy
doing. Yes.
with people that you like doing it with.
Yes.
You know, it's not always going to be easy, but like I would rather have that almost than like, okay, you know, you're kind of sitting around and
miserable and
yeah.
I agree.
That was actually, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I forgot about that time where like, yeah, you could just be at home and then you can just eat and go to sleep and, you know, again,
yeah.
and you'll have more than enough things to do with a baby, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was a good point when you said like, you know, what am I going to do? Like I can't just be at home.
And especially when you're working for so long and you're just so used to like having that routine where you go, you work, or you're just doing something for yourself and then it stops. You're just like, who am I?
Yeah.
But you also give yourself credit. So like when you go to work, I don't care what you do, balloons, corporate, retail, whatever, you can give yourself credit for having accomplished something,
right?
Whether it's a lot or little. You clocked in, you clocked out, you completed your jobs, you completed your responsibilities,
right?
And you can feel good about that.
Exactly.
Think,
yes.
You know? You learn something new. I think I do, and I try to learn something new, whether you know it's business related, creatively related, or just from somebody in a conversation like this. But there's so many things that happen from
just stepping out and working. Yes, I agree. And that was my thing, is like, I didn't want it to be where I label myself, and then no one should ever do that, but to just label yourself to be like, oh, you're just a mom. It's like, you're not just a mom, you know, you're yourself. You love, like, do something for yourself that makes you feel good. And to me, that was, you know, balloons, where I found my, like, oh, okay, this is fun, you know, and I'm meeting new people. I'm going out at least, you know, and it gives me that small break where I do need, and it, like as a mom, you know, to just be away for some time, work, and then you come back and you go back to your duties. Like it wasn't ever a challenge to me because I always knew my kids were always safe and my mom watches them for me. So it's like I'm comfortable with that, you know? So it's like you need that for yourself, for your well-being. It's like you're well rested too.
Which shout out to moms and you, because I know that it's hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think that people, I know a lot of it's majority, like in the balloons, it's women who are doing it. And a lot of their stories are like they're doing it for their kids or they have kids at home. But it's not just the role of like it's not just a stay-at-home mom, because there's a lot to do at home. Like it's the cooking, it's the cleaning, you're taking care of the kids.
Getting them to soccer practice, getting them to this place or that place.
Yes.
So to do that and then do also like a balloon business, like it's a lot. And you do need, like, I think you have figured it out to where you have a balance of like your business, your kids, and like you time.
Yes.
So how has that kind of, like, how did you come about that? Like, how do you kind of figure that out?
Well, I guess it's, you know, people be like, which is like the biggest lie when they're like, oh, the newborn stage is the hardest. It gets easier as they grow, and it's like, it doesn't, because like they're growing and they're learning more. Like right now, I woke up early, I took her to school, and I drove here, you know, so it's like, it's still so much going on. And now that she's getting older, there's more. So now she wants to do sports. Now she's in school, you know, as to where she wasn't in school, I didn't have to worry about pickup, drop, and stuff like that. So it's like you just learn to go with the punches kind of a thing, because you roll with it and you make things happen.
So I think you just touched on it. What is the day-to-day, like, you don't normally come all the way to LA Balloons.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost 2 hours away for you. So. But, you know, you woke up, you took your kids to school, and then what's happening?
So luckily for us, we have Angel, which is my boyfriend. He has a schedule that works with my schedule, because he enters nights and he works Sundays through Wednesdays, which is only 4 days a week, which is perfect, because I'm like, okay, I get to have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which are like my business days, kind of free. And if I do have an event in the daytime, he's still home to watch them. And if it's like in the evening time event, I'll have my mom, where it works out. but to us it's like Monday through Friday is school. Right now she's not in soccer, but she was doing soccer Tuesdays and Thursdays. My little one, she's 1, so she just rides with us everywhere we go. She's a carpool buddy. so she doesn't have a lot going on, but it is harder because at the end of the day, she's, I'm still breastfeeding her. We're 15 months in. So it's like, I have that, which is very, it's very tiring. At the end of the day, I have Charlie in school, like I said. So she goes in at 8, gets out like about 3 o'clock. So I have to stay local with her. But then again, it's not just balloons. We're marketing. We're our photographer. We're our content creators, So it's like you try to squeeze everything right there and then making it happen. And then again, like you said, the house stuff, like my dishes don't wash themselves. I don't use a dishwasher. Everyone's like, why don't you use your dishwasher? I grew up washing a mano. That's how my grandma taught us. And when we were little, we would go to Mexico. We used to wash our clothes like in the, so it's like, we're very old school and I have those streets. So it's like, I don't wash my dish. Like,
Karen, do you wash the dishes?
I do actually.
Hand wash or dishwasher?
I don't even have a dishwasher at home.
Oh, man. Okay.
My mom is the same way. Like she literally like
a mano, right?
Like the clothes, she washed like certain clothes
she'll
wash
scrub them down and then throw it.
air dry them. Very
old school. All right, now I feel lazy. So I do. Okay, between me and my wife, I do physically wash more dishes than she does, but we do use the dishwasher for most of the plates. But I will wash all the pots and pans. Yeah. And I actually can't stand when they're not clean. And I have to have them cleaned and scrubbed with a little copper thing and like get them new looking like before I go up to bed. So I will wash dishes.
I don't know how to use a dishwasher if I'm honest with you. Like,
put a little pot in there.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they had like certain soaps for that. So one time when I did try to use the dishwasher, I just threw like Dawn and I was like, oh, like I'll just wash them like that, and then I'll do laundry and we'll take a nap. So I just threw regular Dawn soap, like I squirt it, and then I go downstairs and you see all the bubbles.
Oh, no.
I was like, okay, this is not for me. I'm gonna stick
literally
to my
those movie situations.
Yeah, so I was like, no, we're just gonna keep it old school, like put on the guantes and just scrub them down.
That's so funny.
But I do use my dishwasher to just keep them in there to dry, and then like as a drying rack.
Okay, hold on. Okay, actually, that's another great question. I love that. I think of it that way. Do you use your dishwasher in that way?
I don't have a dishwasher.
Oh, you don't
at
all. So like for us, we wash the dishes and then we have like that little drying rack on the side.
On the side, yeah.
So they're just there. So they're not even like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, they're there.
They're just there. Like if you're not moving them, like
they're
that's
there.
Where they're at.
Yeah.
It's funny.
You know what's funny? Growing up, our dishwasher, we had it to like store stuff. So like you know Hispanics, yeah. Okay, so but we would have like before they used to sell bags to us. They gave us like the regular plastic bags. So we would stuff them in there, like stuff like that. Where's the bag? Because we would reuse those bags for like trash bags.
Yep,
so like that's where we would pull them out from the dishwasher. So it's like we never used the dishwasher for what it's supposed to be. I want to replace it for a small fridge though. You know how they replace it?
Like a little drink fridge.
But then I'm like, there goes my drying rack.
That's so funny. I actually love that drying rack. So once it's in there and it's just drying, I'm like, I'll pull from it.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the same plates almost every day. Yeah. The same fork and knife, whatever. But it's funny. So like Liz on the opposite side is a little bit the opposite. So she hates doing the dishes. I grew up doing the dishes. I don't mind. I don't enjoy them. So I didn't take it with me and say like, I'm going to keep washing the dishes. I was like, let me use the dishwasher. I'll hand wash what I have to wash. But I will leave them there and that's where I can store them. Every day in the morning before she leaves at like 6:30 in the morning, she has to take them out of the dishwasher and put them away. Like that's her thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just can't have them out and I need to make sure that they're clean. So we kind of balance it out.
Yeah, so you guys balanced it out. That's good.
But it's funny. I'm like, why don't we just leave it in the dishwasher? She's like, no, we have to put them back to where they're supposed to be. But
we're going to use it again.
Yeah, just right there. And then she'll put something in the sink and I'm like, I have to wash it. Like I just got to get it out there. I can't wash the pot if it's in there and I'm going to break the plate.
Yeah.
But that's so funny.
But I also like how you say with your wife, we try to balance that out. Like me, I love cooking. That's my thing. So I'll be like, hey, if I'm cooking, you got the dishes, right? Like, so we try to balance that out. And, Same thing with the girls. Like I'll be like, hey, I showered them last night. Your turn. Like I'm gonna go work downstairs because we have a 2-story. So I'll be like, I'll be downstairs working. Don't bug me, and your turn to shower them. So that's very helpful. It's like I don't do it all on my own. Which he's his dad. It's his job. So it's your turn. But we do take turns with that. Which is helpful for us.
Actually, bringing that up, do you find it difficult to work at home? Because I'm not a big fan of working from home. Now it's a little bit different. Most of what we do is kind of like on the computer. But when you're doing balloon decor, only part of it is actually blowing up the balloons. The other half of it is clients, booking, mock-ups, Instagram, social, editing, that kind of stuff.
So my oldest, she's more independent. She's more, especially now with school, she'll be like doing school, or she'll be like doing her own thing. It's gotten a little easier, but then when the second one came around, she's more clingy. And again, I think it's because it's a breastfeeding thing where she's like, oh, my food. And like, come here, snack. Always looking for me. And I find it a little bit more easier just because I'm a homebody. Like I love being home. Like, and not that I don't enjoy going out. It's my safe space for us, and the kids love it. Like they have their playroom. If anything, they'll be distracted. Sometimes I'll be in the ball pit with them. Just like, when they're over there playing. So like we make it work. But it does get challenging. Like I said, sometimes like I'll be like, okay, like let me send this email, make sure I have everything right. And then I'll have like, mom. So it can get challenging, which I do have an office. Like I said, like one of the rooms we made into like a little office where I have my own desk, but half the time it's like, I have to chase these kids around.
You
right?
have to
I have
be
like,
mobile.
again, I'm in the ball pit, like typing up an email, and it's a balance. But I would say if I had the opportunity to like step out for like 2 hours and like block them out for a little bit while I can actually work, I think it'll be faster and I'll just knock it out. Whereas 2 hours, sometimes I have to like send one email or like do one contract thing and then follow up the invoice like a little bit later and then send it later because I got interrupted because the kids, it's like I am a stay-at-home mom, but I work at home too.
Is your 1-year-old walking or talking?
She is. She just started. She's a little late bird because my 5-year-old started at like 10 months.
Oh.
And she started just recently last month. So she was a year and 2 months in. So she kind of started late, but now you can't stop her. So we have stairs and she's like, shh. And I'm like, oh my God,
From crawling to walking and stairs. Wow,
and
that was fast.
she learned to open the baby gate. So it's like, what is it there for? I'm like, no. Yeah, she's walking. So that's gotten difficult. That's been a challenge.
That's cool.
She walks, she climbs. I'm like, girl, you're doing everything like out of the nowhere. Yeah, because before she would just sit there and watch like Miss Rachel and she'll be fine. But now that she like got the rhythm and she knows what she's doing with her body, there's no stopping her. Like
That's
like
awesome.
Everybody watches Miss Rachel, right? That's like a thing.
Shout
now,
out Miss
like-
Rachel though. She's my part-time babysitter because she keeps them locked in.
My cousin has, I think she's a little over a year old. Maybe they're around the same age, but same thing. Like Miss Rachel has taught her how to count, how to sing, like
her
all
colors.
these things.
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow.
what?
At one, yeah. My 1-year-old, she'll like mumble, like she'll say pink, pink, like pink,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, she's great.
Well,
She's
then
amazing.
shout out to Miss Rachel.
Yeah. She's great.
With you, like your schedule, like obviously you have the little ones. Do you at this point, because you're taking care of them, are you just kind of trying to work in between whenever you can?
Yeah.
Or do you kind of work more towards like the end of the night when they're asleep, or just kind of in between?
So it depends on like my timelines. For example, like say I get like a last minute booking and I gotta get like paperwork sent out ASAP, then I'll try to work in between. But for the most part, I try to do it while they're sleeping, nap time. Because again, it's time consuming. You have to read between the lines, make sure everything's right. But yeah, bedtime is like my work time for them.
With you saying like contracts, at what point in your business did you say like, I have to start sending contracts? It's no longer like, I don't know, like, do you have a website, or how did you kind of learn to come up with these process and like do all these things?
So I started contracts when I started bringing equipment such as like backdrops, my marquee numbers and stuff like that. Not just because not because I was just protecting my assets and my stuff, but because the protection of others. So that's where insurance comes in. Like I don't want something to fall on someone and and then hold liable. So that's when I have a friend who also does like kind of like event stuff. She's more so like crafty type, and she's like, you need to protect yourself and you need to have this and this was probably like 3 years ago. So 2 years in that I was like, you're right. Like, you know, I got to back myself up as a business, as a person, and my equipment too. At the end of the day was when I started pushing the contracts and then got more serious when I brought in the bounce houses. Cause I was like, that's a big investment and it's a big thing. Have you guys watched that Netflix show about the bounce house? Oh my God, I forgot the name of it. It's scary. I told my boyfriend recently, I was like, I'm not renting the bounce house anymore. It's a show. It's a Hispanic show. It's about an accident where the bounce house flies off and there's kids inside and like.
Oh, I did see that.
I forgot the name.
I didn't know if it was a real video. Yes, I did see it. It kind of flew into the air, but it still had
kids inside, right?
Yeah, it was so windy.
Girl, where we live in like Fontana, like San Bernardino area, we're known for Santa Ana winds. Oh, yeah. Have you heard of those? So I told him, I was like, bro, I don't care how many sandbags you put on there. I don't think I'm gonna rent out my bounce.
Staking them into the ground, all the different things.
I feel like as a kid though, like, and I don't know, I mean, when we had like the bounce houses and they weren't like the cute ones that are out now. It was like the random, like colorful ones. But the kids were always in there bouncing from one side to the other, trying to knock it over,
turning it off. Yeah, and that's what I think about it too. So even then, like we, like you say, you know, I said bounce house, and you thought about that stuff. Yeah. So I thought about that stuff too, because as a kid, you know, we were maldosos, like we were always doing some crazy stuff. So I was like, okay, it's a contract and insurance is a must, and that's when you start realizing it's not just about the money. You know, it's about longevity of your business, your reputation, the face of baby of the party and stuff like that. So that's when I was like, okay, it is fun and games, but it's business at the end of the day. Yep.
And things happen, and like that's what the insurance
unintentionally
is there for.
Always happens. Yeah.
So actually that's a good point, because I think a lot of people, when they're thinking balloon business and they're trying to get clients and they're trying to put up garlands and do an installation, they aren't thinking about that aspect.
With the background, exactly. Especially with balloons. If you think about it, balloons are very like, even for me when I'm working at home, my little one loves to like just come or like throw herself in the mattress bags to bounce back. And I'm like, hey, chill. It's like you need that insurance, because kids like that. One pops, puts it in your mouth, you know, like they don't think about that. And especially when we're giving out our quote includes to help us pay for these stuff, our insurance, our, you know, all that stuff.
Overhead. Actually, that's a really good point. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because like when you're pricing, again, a lot of
we
people,
got to include, and they don't see that.
Yeah. They're like, okay, the bag of balloons was $15 or $20, and then I'm charging $150.
Not even. They think we still buy them at like parties. Yeah. You know, and it's like, no, they don't.
But yeah, to run a business, you need the insurance and you need to cover that cost. Like that is the base cost of running a business.
I feel like people see that we're doing this like as a hobby kind of a thing. They don't really like, not that they don't take us. A lot of people don't take us serious because they just think it's just balloons, and it's not just balloons. Like, you know, back to what we were saying, it's in the insurance, the labor, the gas, the mileage, the vehicles you're investing in. It's a lot.
If there was anybody that you've kind of learned that you look up to in the balloon industry, or whether it's not in the balloon industry, because you have kind of, I guess, learned as you've gone and have grown your business. Is there anybody that you follow or that you look up to and you're like, wow, like they inspire me, or have taken, you know, like their own like tips and tricks or advice to help you in your business?
Yes. And it makes me so sad because she just announced that she's taking a step back in the balloon business.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Melody from Feather Fox. She's amazing. I love her. I'm always on her page, like getting inspos and like taking her like classes and stuff like that. Yeah, she's my big inspiration. I love her. I love everything she does. And she's a mom too. So it's like, I feel like I relate with her. It's like a big inspiration for my business with everything she does as far as teaching, her customized colors that she creates, everything, just the way she
disco walls.
I was gonna say,
my gosh! Did you see?
She made so many. She has like a bunch of them.
Yeah, and she sold her pink one. I saw it when she already posted that it was sold, and I'm like, when was it for sale? Yeah,
quick.
she's so creative.
She really,
I
really
love
I think
it.
the first one she like that went like really like viral, I would say, was the silver one with like a plain disco ball. And then she did an event for
Red
was
one?
was it the hairspray?
Big Red.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
That one was really good too.
That was creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. Melody, if you're watching this, I love you. I'm your biggest fan. Yes,
We'll have to tag
her,
her.
and I'm not, and also Tiffany from Confetti Castle. I love her work. She is so, I love her. She is so fun. She has just big energy on her like all the time. She's been a huge inspiration to me too, as far as how she navigates work, her life, her marriage, how she's able to like, how she as a business was able to contract all her big clients. You know, she's worked with the football teams out on her side of town.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, that's amazing. Like, that's
Yeah.
great. And she doesn't sugarcoat. Like that's what I love, how blunt she is. That's a thing I love about people when they're very forward with this like business, that they come true to you. It's like, it's not, it is what it is. It's reality, you know?
Yeah. No, she's we actually see her at most of the conventions and most of the events that we go to. So she's a very, very sweet lady. And she's very, very talented. And I agree.
Yeah.
As a businesswoman, she's very, very strong and she's very, very smart. And then her and her husband really are a team, because I do think every time I see her, I see,
And you see
Ciro.
him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
her husband, who's actually really funny.
She's full of knowledge. I know she taught one of the classes in Tough Techs when they did their Going to the Chapel in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
She did one of those, and like people were like asking her questions, and she went over what you kind of went over earlier, which is like include your price in your pricing, include like your gas, your mileage, like all these different things. And she's been in the industry for a while now, right?
Mhm.
So she's familiar with all of that. Have you been to any of the classes?
I
or-
haven't.
You haven't?
No. And I wanted to do, which is the Hispanic one that they do out here?
Global
Con.
Global Con. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cause I was like, that's the closest to me. You know, I haven't, cause I always am like, how am I going to travel with 2 kids, or how would I manage that?
Yeah.
You know, just because, like I said, my first daughter, I breastfed her and she was exclusively breastfeeding. So it wasn't like, oh, let me pump and just, you know, I'll leave you here with your milk. It's like,
Yeah.
no. So that was my first thing that I wasn't able to really travel with. And then now again with my second daughter, it's the same thing going again. So it's like everything one happens, I'm like, oh, I can't go. But I know GlobalCon was nearby. So I was like, oh, maybe I could do that one. I will one day.
That one is
manifesting this.
That one actually, I think, would be a good one to shoot for. It is coming up soon.
Yeah.
And
Oh, it's coming up soon. It hasn't passed.
no, I
Oh.
think
It's in
coming-
like 2 weeks. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in like 2 weeks, right? Something
Yep.
like that. Yeah. So it's coming
Wow.
up, and
Oh,
it'll be
wow.
that one's full of just everybody, really. I mean, is there, and it's a lot of like the Hispanic community. I mean, it's fun. I've been there a few times now, I think, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's really good to
Oh,
be able to attend. So you get to meet a lot of people. Like if you go, not just GlobalCon, but like any other conventions or anything like that in general.
Yeah.
I know people, it's a good way for you to like socialize and meet like Tiffany from Confetti Castle and like all these other decorators. I know a lot of people say that they have a lot of friends that are now like their best friends in the industry.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you kind of work with that you have kind of formed a friendship with, or
In the industry,
Yeah.
with I would say I do have a few like locals that would help me out, where I'll be like, hey, like something pop up, would you take it? Something like that. But as far as like someone that I would be like, oh, my balloon bestie, I don't have a balloon bestie yet.
Not yet. We can be your balloon bestie.
Yeah, now
Okay. So, well, it's interesting. The GlobalCon thing. Yes, there's GlobalCon this year. That one might be full, but I think even there's
There's
We'll have to look around.
other classes like that, people attend and all of that. But I do think that
the bigger
going-
conventions.
the bigger conventions are the ones that I think most
Like
people
Flow,
like.
you're
Yeah, people go to those. I think even if there's classes in general around here, like obviously Vegas isn't like around the corner. You have to drive there. But like that one is a good one also, because it wasn't like huge to where it was like overwhelming with like you wanted to make it like everywhere. Like I think Float is one of the ones where I just attended this year for the first time, and that one's like, I feel like I still miss stuff because it's so big.
So much going on.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the ones that are like smaller, so like the little classes that like
More intimate
sponsors and like things like that, those I think you get to meet like more people and you make more like
connections
with people.
Yeah.
So I think it's helpful to go.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna figure something out.
yeah.
We'll figure that. No promises.
I'm like, does LA Balloons need a +1?
Sometimes, but other times we are limited to who
How
can
many
have
go?
attend.
Yeah.
Yes. And then sometimes we can come to do the classes, and sometimes we can't do the classes. It really depends on the show and who's running it.
Yeah. I'm actually doing an expo this Sunday at Ontario for the Quinceañera Expo. Have you heard of this?
Oh
No, but it sounds. I love quinceañeras.
Yeah,
Like,
me
I
too.
like.
it's our culture, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have one? Did you do one?
I did. That was something that like from when I was little, like I was like, I want a quinceañera.
You always
like,
look forward
I
to.
always wanted it, and I'm the oldest of 5.
Mhm.
And I was actually the only one. So there's 5 of us. There's only 1 boy, 4 girls.
Okay.
And I was the only one who had one because I was the only one who actually wanted one. But it was in my backyard, but we made it work. We had like the banda, the grupo, whatever.
Mhm.
And then I had my big yellow dress. I had a freaking yellow dress. It was so bright. Like I literally in that process, like I was like,
They knew it was your party.
yeah. Yeah. But
We're
that
definitely putting a picture of that up. Yeah.
No.
Let's find it.
But quinceañeras are really fun. So what is that quinceañera?
So
expo?
it's an expo for pretty much like a bridal expo, but for quinceañeras.
Yeah.
So there'll be different vendors. So like people who are DJs, people who own venues. And that's how I was able to go because my friend, she owns a venue. It's called Lexi Events in Fontana, California. She has a booth there. She's like, hey, like you're always setting up in my venue. Like, do you want to do like a display? And then of course you'll meet people, might be good business for us. And I'm like, dude, yeah. Let's go. So we're doing, so there'll be venues, there'll be bartenders, anything, dresses, anything that you can think for quinceañeras, choreographers,
Well,
event
that's interesting.
planners.
I didn't know that. It's like a convention for everything. I feel like.
Yeah, I know. And they do it and it's kind of like float too, where they go like different states throughout the year or every year. So this year is California and they chose Ontario Convention Center because it's a big convention center.
So what are the dates for that?
It's the 15th. No, I think it might be the 14th and the 15th. I could be wrong till tomorrow and Sunday, but I know for sure it'll be the 15th because that's the day I'll be going, unless it's a 1-day thing. But it's if they're on Instagram, it's called just quinceañera. And you'll find them and they'll talk about it and how everything's what they're doing. So which is it's good. I'll be able to meet people and like you said, market and promote kind of a thing. So
yeah. I feel like going to all of these different conventions, not just the balloon conventions. I mean, I didn't even know there was. I've heard of the Quinceañera Expo. Like I know I've gone to like an arts and craft expo before. But it's good to it's good to see like all these different things, and I don't know, you just kind of get people everywhere. It's not just balloon people looking for balloons. You get me? So that makes sense. Well, I'm trying to think.
This happens once an episode.
No.
So actually, you technically picked up a lead on the way here. Hopefully, you're going to pick up. I think you will probably pick up a lead when you go to this expo.
Mm-hmm.
Do you take all jobs, or do you draw the line? Like you have a minimum? Or do you have anything where you're like, no, I'm not going to take that job because X?
So I feel like not all business is good business, and I've just learned that the hard way. Especially as I was growing and learning the business, it's trial and error, especially being something new. So I don't always pick up all the businesses. Sometimes, for example, like if something I can't do where it's like, whether it doesn't flow with my schedule, it's not my specialty, I'll happily decline it. Like I'll be like, hey, or I'll be very straightforward. As far as the minimum, I do have a minimum, but then it kind of goes back and forth because then I also do like grab and goes, which is under my minimum.
Okay.
But it's like if I have to set a minimum where I have to do, right now it's at a $500 minimum because again, what are we talking about? Like insurance, my daycare, you know, like I got to give my mom something. Like, you know, I know she's like, don't pay me. And a lot of people seem like that, but it's like, it's still.
What's the cost of running the business?
Right? That, and it's like, even if I'm just going to be home, it's like, I'm putting time aside with my family to go do this. And again, it's the cost of running a business. You know, it's like I've learned to set the minimum of 500 because it has to be kind of like worth it. Where I have to, you know, where I'm able to get up and go and fuel up and take the road trip kind of a thing. So
did you, assumably, but did you increase your prices over time?
I had to, yeah. We all did. You guys did too. Yeah.
Inflation, right?
Yeah, it did. I did. But like drastically, yes, because again, I'm not going to Walmart anymore to buy the balloon that I was buying when I first started. Now I'm, you know, picking up Tough Text, which is, you know, there's a price difference because of the quality. So it's like you're working with different stuff. You know, I'm not buying, I mean, I still do. I'm not going to say I don't buy like the pink machines from Amazon, the pink machine that the viral one that we was talking about, because now I own a more expensive, you know, Air One machine and that costed me more. So it's like, I have to in order to grow within myself and keep my doors open.
So that's funny because like, I think part of it too, like, okay, we've got the cost of supplies, you got your overhead, whether you have a space, you don't have a space, you got daycare, you have gas, you have vehicle, you have business insurance, all these things. But it's funny because I think one aspect that I haven't heard much is also actually just charging for the art that you're creating. Because if you look at an artist, they paint a landscape. One can sell for $10 and the other can sell for $5,000. Another one can sell for $5 million. Right. So like at that point, it's no longer the cost of the materials. It's not the time. It's not the overhead. It's actually the value of the work that you're creating, because only you can create,
correct,
you know, the garland or the backdrop with your style.
Correct.
You know, like, and if they want you, they have to
go to you,
pay for you. Right. But it's interesting because I think that's one thing I haven't heard often is my price is my price because of the work.
Your signature to it.
Yes. You know,
luckily I still have clients who had hired me when I was using different material, you know, and it's like, what is it, 5, almost going on 6 years now. I still have those same clients that hired me since day one. So it's like, how did you do that? So how did you keep your clients coming back? In the Black Tie, we were saying like going to conventions, you make relationships. I have friends like where to like, I'm not just a client. They'll be like, hey, you're going to come do my balloons, but stay for the party because you're invited. Like, you know, so you build those relations with them where you form that trust with them. And they're like, yeah, well, we like you and we like your work. Back to your saying, because it's you that makes them comfortable to invest their money in my business.
Because there isn't a lack of balloon, you know, businesses out there. But when we're talking to the ones who are successful, it's curious, like, what is it that you do? And it sounds like part of that is like actually building a relationship with your clients.
Right.
But that's amazing, because I think a lot of times, like, you know, you get a job, you do the job, and then
that's it.
You don't hear from them again.
Yeah, I know what you're. Yeah, and it had just happened. You know, maybe it was like a one-time thing that I did someone, or maybe I replaced. What happens a lot, where like, hey, we need a balloon artist because my balloon artist canceled, and we replace someone for the time being, and maybe they have a relationship with that other artist, and they'll go back to them. You know, it's just it happens. But for the most part, I've have a lot of like friends that I've met as clients first, and now they're like, you know, we have a good relationship. They go back to where they're bringing me business. They'll refer me. They're like, hey, this is my balloon girl. Like, use her. And so, yeah.
Do you have a bad installation story or something like didn't go, and like, what did you do? How did you handle it?
Okay, so this is not a bad installation story, but it was like a big eye opener and a learn lesson, because this falls back to where you're just asking me. I have a old client, who has hired me for multiple events because we had formed a good relation. And she didn't finish paying me off.
Oh.
And it was like a big install where it was backdrops. It was the bounce house. It was marquee letters. So she went all out. She had like the beautiful Pinterest baby shower type of thing. And then I'll show you guys everything that I did. So she totaled up a big invoice. And so I was like, all right. She's like, hey, so can I start paying you off towards like the date kind of thing? And I'm like, yeah, well, I'll break you down in a payment. And I trusted her with that, right? Come the day of the event, which I normally do. If I do have you on a payment plan, I normally have you finish paying off before your event so that I know that I'm paid out, right? She's like, hey, it was like a day or two before. She's like, hey, like trouble, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dumb of me, right? Like I listened to her, like I said. And I'm like, I know where you live. I know your name. I know your mom. I know everybody, you know, like it's okay. At that time, it was about like $750 that was left on the tab.
Oh, wow.
And at first she sent a payment, and then she was like kind of like iffy on responding. She started ghosting me, and I'm like, girl, I thought we were better than that. Like, what's going on? And then she like made a big deal because again, she started ghosting me, but then I had her mom as a second contact, and I have this all paper trail too. So that's a good thing about me, because if I'm like, if I really wanted to like fight for that money, I can. I have the backup. You know, I have paper trails. I have emails. I have text messages. Yes, that's important. Keep paper trail. Remember this. And then she just stopped responding to me. So then I texted her mom and I'm like, hey, so-and-so like hasn't responded to me. I just want to get the remainder like finalized so I can close things out and, you know, add it to my books. And she was like, oh, well, how much is the amount? So then I told her and she never responded. And then like a week after I texted her so-and-so again. And I'm like, hey, like, are we good? Like, what's going on? You know, we're better than this. Let's communicate. Until this day, I've been very proper with it. And she's like, well, you texted someone my personal information, blah, blah, blah. Like she got crazy. And I'm like, that we shouldn't even be here at this point. Like,
yeah,
you know, and
I
then
fulfilled my end of the bargain.
Yeah.
And
not only that, since I felt like, that's what I like to do. Like as someone, like, for example, like, if I finish there here and I'm like walking down, I'm like, oh, well, I have extra balloons here. Like, let me just add a little bit more here on the side, you know, just because you're my friend and it's your party and you're always hiring. So even for her that day, I added like balloons around her marquee letters at no charge. And, you know, and I'm like, oh, because it looks nice. And like, I have little leftover. So I'll just add here. And I had time because she was my last event of the day. And I'm like, I go moving mountains for you, and this
went above and beyond. You didn't even just do what you asked for.
And then this is what you do to me. I'm like, all right. And at the end of the day, like I think right now, like the balance is like $300, and I'm like, I'm just gonna let go and let God, because I don't have time for this. You know, it's like whatever. Like it is what it is. But that was my bad story. Till this day, I'm still hurt. You know, like it's like, dang, I was so nice to you.
Yeah. Well, you don't deserve that, and
no one does, especially, you know. But again, it's like for those who do want to start a balloon business, it's like you live and you learn, but don't let my experience be your lesson. Don't do that.
Collect full payment.
Yeah,
before you go and install.
Family, friends, it doesn't matter. Your mom, your dad, your dog, just charge them. Yeah. Yes.
Just make sure it's covered.
Because it's your job, you know? Yeah.
So actually, that might actually be your advice, but
yeah, I was going to say, do you have a quote or a motivational quote that you kind of live by, or that you...
My motivational quote, I don't want to say it's a quote, but it's more so like, it's like, to me, it's always, you can do it. You can do it. Like, regardless, like, to me, it's like, if I can do it with kids, you know, like, I know a lot of people be like, I can't because my kids are like, if I can do it with kids, if I can do it tired, and, you know, I can do it, we can do it. It's possible. It's all possible. Like, go for it. If you want to start something, go for it. I think the hardest part is always starting, right? Because we're walking into like a dark room and we don't know what direction we're going to go. It's always starting, but start. It's always been my go-to and my advice for everyone, whether it's balloons, it's cooking, you know, something that they want to try, or a new sport, or me, I want to start running. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, when? I don't know, but I want to start. And I keep telling myself, do it, Carina, you could do it, you know?
Like everybody's in their running era.
Yeah. It's super good.
I am officially not in my running era. Just putting it out there.
You'd be surprised because me, I'm 30. I'm going to be 31. So I'm like, I got to do something. I got to be moving. My kids are still little. You know, I got to still run after them. I got to have that energy in me. So it's, I want to
think you're
start.
doing great. And I think it's funny because like being in the balloon business, it is labor intensive and you have to physically do a lot of things. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know. And like how you were saying, like I was doing things pregnant. My mom would give me so, you know, like Hispanic moms, like, siéntate and don't be lifting. And I was still like 8 months pregnant, lifting backdrops and like my marquee letters, loading and unloading. And my mom's like, oh my God, Carina, se te va a venir esa niña. And I'm like, I got this. Like I know my body. I know my body was able to handle it. But it's like, again, I've always worked. So I feel like if I stopped, that was going to be the bad side of it. So it's like, I have to keep my body going, you know?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
I saw a video of a TikTok. I'm on TikTok, so there's this girl.
Me too. That's where I learn my recipes.
That's where I feel like TikTok is where you learn a lot of things. Yeah. But there's this girl that keeps coming across my TikTok, but she is like 40 weeks and something days pregnant, and she is still at the gym doing like squats, RDLs, like with the bar, like everything. And she looks like she's like tiny, like maybe 5 feet tall, and she is like out there. So
doing it.
It's crazy how much your body can actually handle.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand your mom because you're.
I feel like, you know, if you're healthy and you're capable to do it. You know, obviously if you have a medical condition or something that's going to stop you, don't do it. But because even like when I was being seen for my baby care, she was like, just don't change it up unless you really feel it, or if we see something like, hey, bed rest or something, you know, we'll tell you. But you're young and healthy, like do it, you know? Yeah. My cousin right now, she's pregnant. She's on her 3rd baby. She's 33 and she's in the army. And she was supposed to it's not drafted. What's the word? Deployed too. I was like drafted to Korea this week, and she didn't go because of the baby, but she's still at the gym. She's still doing all her work. She's still doing her active duties and stuff. I'm like, girl, that's extreme. Yeah. I'm on the sidelines watching for you. Yeah.
With that, what else is coming for Baby of the Party? Like, what are your future plans with Baby of the Party? Where is this kind of going?
So I'm actually, I love balloons. I love creating with balloons. I love learning, and there's something new always in the balloon world, right? Yep. There's new designs, new colors and stuff like that. So I feel like that helps me grow that. They keep bringing all this new stuff, the new equipment and stuff like that. But I do want to go focus more on coordinating and planning, like full blown,
like an event planner.
Okay. Yeah, just because I've been doing it on the side for like just friends and family, and they've been successful. Even like my own kids' parties, like I'm like, oh my God, I pulled that off. Like that's amazing. I just pulled off a proposal like not too long ago for a famous guitarist that I'm not allowed to say, but he's in a Hispanic band, and they're on tour right now. So while he was on tour, I was like getting everything ready. Like he trusted me with everything. And I pulled it off so good. And I was like, dang, like I could do this. Like, you know, like, and doing that, it kind of gave me more freedom, because I was kind of just more like the coordinator on the background. Like, you know, like you're directing. Yeah. And it wasn't so much heavy weight on me as far as like, oh, I got to do the balloons, I got to paint my backdrops, you know. It was less labor is what I'm trying to say. So I do want to go and strive through that. But of course, still do my balloons. I'm always going to keep it going with that. But I do want to start doing that, and hopefully it falls through perfectly. I'm still learning though.
That's exciting.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I feel like there's obviously event planners now and everything, but I think that's a great path and goal that you have. So,
and it's an easy transition, I think. Like it makes sense.
Yeah, because you know, you're already in the industry, so you know a lot of people, and even even as balloon artists, you meet other people when you're setting up or when you're like somewhere else. You're like, hey, the mariachi was great. Like, let me go get their number because I'm having a party for my mom next week. And, you know, you make connections that way. Yeah. So I've made a lot of connections that it's made it easier for me to, like when I did a proposal, I was like, oh, I know a mariachi. I know a caterer. I know like a great girl who does proposal setup. So it's like, it was easy. I was like, I could do this.
Okay.
I'm confident.
Yeah.
Well, you did it with your balloon business. So
Yeah,
again,
since-
you can do it.
You
So-
can, yes.
You've definitely shown that you are very capable, even with your kids and everything. So I'm sure you'll do great with your
Oh,
event
thank
thing.
you. I'll let you know when I do. So if you guys have any parties,
Yeah. We'll definitely reach out to you.
yeah, I'll make the drive.
So to kind of wrap everything up, where can people find you? Like, what areas do you service? Plug yourself.
Okay. So Instagram is mostly where you'll find me. This baby of the party. I do service the Inland Empire, some of the LA areas, which is I consider like the Pomona, the West Covina, the Closure side. Anaheim OC is an area I service depending how deep it is. Just because I'm more closer to Beaumont. I reside in Beaumont, which is closer to Palm Springs,
Okay.
like the Coachella Valley area. That's my side of town. So like
You service
Riverside.
Palm Springs? Do you go
I
there?
do.
Okay.
It's so hot over there. I actually did one not too long ago and I was like, oh my God, we're installing inside. We can't do outside. But yeah, I do service the Palm Spring area, like Thermal, India, all that good stuff. So yeah.
So you're everywhere.
Yeah, we're everywhere. But I'm going like, I mean, there's minimums too. So like recently I did one for my friend who's out here in the STK in Beverly Hills. So I was like, all right, well, my minimum is XYC. If that's what he's like, all right, let's do it. I was like, okay, then I'll drive. I'll make the drive and make it a day, you know?
So really, your area
Well,
actually
yeah.
all goes all the way from Palm Springs to Beverly Hills.
Yes.
I think that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Definitely get
Yeah.
Carina to do your installs and work with everybody. So
Yeah.
Okay. So we also have, before we get, a promotion. I don't think we have our little gift bag,
we do
but
not.
that's okay. We're still going to do the giveaway.
Giveaway.
So
Mhm.
Karen, what do we have to do to win and do this giveaway?
So for this episode, we are gonna have the it'll be on whoever's on YouTube can pretty much like, comment, and follow us. And then we'll go ahead and pick a random winner and they
Starts
will win.
following.
Yeah. Where's my phone? We'll go ahead and just pick a random winner on there and then just keep an eye out for that because every episode we will be doing a giveaway. So
And we'll be reaching out to you
Nice.
on, are we going to reach out to them on Instagram or YouTube?
wherever we can get a hold of you.
Perfect.
Email, yeah.
You are the winner. And then we'll give you the email to reach out. Actually, that's a good idea. Thank you, Carina, for being on the episode. I know it was a long drive for you.
Yeah.
and,
So worth it though. This was fun. It was nice meeting you guys too.
I'm glad
Me
we made
too.
this full circle.
Yeah.
The first time it was just a shout out. Now we're actually having you
A
on the
shout out with the
podcast.
wrong name.
Yeah. And please make sure you follow Baby the Party on Instagram and all of our socials. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, On Air with LA Balloons. We'll be
Facebook. No,
on
Carina
Facebook.
reminds us.
Can't forget Facebook. So all of our social medias. And then thank you again to Tough Techs, shout out, for all of your support and sponsoring the podcast. And any final thoughts, Karen?
No, just thank you so much for being here. It's been great to talk to you and get to put a face to your name. And just, I mean, this has been fun. So I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. No, thank you guys so much for having me. This was fun. Like, it was really fun. Hopefully we have a round 2 soon.
We will.
We're going to keep this thing going.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That'll
We'll
be
follow up on
fun.
where you are with transitioning and adding that service of event planning
Yeah.
to Baby the Party. We definitely don't want to see Baby Party stop making balloons, but if
No,
you want to
yeah.
add the event planning, I think that is amazing.
Yes.
And with that, I think we're going to end today's episode.
Yeah.
Don't forget to order from laballoons.com when you want to get the right product on time. Shameless plug. Bye. See you next time.
Bye, guys. Be sure to follow us on all our socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Pinterest. Thank you to our sponsor, Tough Techs, for supporting the podcast On Air with LA Balloons. Tough Techs is known for their high quality balloons, unique colors, and for being trendsetters in the industry.
Are you a balloon artist, own a party shop, or planning an event? If you're looking for professional products, better service, and faster shipping, then check us out at laballoons.com. We carry all of your favorite balloon brands, silk flowers, party supplies, equipment, and more.